Hey guys, Farkalicious here with NBA 2K22, and we have Michael Jordan. So we have MJ here, and right now I'm in the Create a Player feature in the rosters, but the appearance that I use here you can also use in MyPlayer. But since we're in the Create a Player feature, let's take a look at his vitals. Obviously we have Michael Jordan, nickname Money. That's probably the best nickname I could find in here for him. He's a shooting guard. If you want to make more of a later Jordan where he was on the Wizards, his secondary position or maybe primary position would be small forward. He's from North Carolina, born February 17th. Age and years pro, you can set that up to however you want depending on which Jordan you're creating. Number 23, he's right-handed. And everything else really in this vitals section is up to you as far as whether you want to make him healthy and what he wants to do as far as playing for a win or any of that stuff. Alright, let's take a look at the appearance. Now 2K did change the presets in here, so just want to let you guys know that if you guys have seen my 2K19 version, the presets have changed, so I had to kind of play around with the settings in multiple different presets. Okay, so the preset that I'm using for this one is going to be this one here. So if you're counting from the top, first row, second row, third, fourth, fifth, sixth row, and it's the third one in. Now this creation looks best without the hair. I know in the past I've created Jordan with hair as well. You can put hair on it and I think it looks okay. With either the buzz cut or one of the cropped hairstyles to make a younger Jordan. But I feel like this look looks best with no hair. I have skull 3, skull width 9, skull height 19. I have brow 2, brow prominence 14, temple width 5, eyebrow distance 3, brow position 10. Eyebrows 2, black. Eyes default. Eye color brown. Eye size 6. Eye distance 1. Eye angle 9. Upper eyelid position 0. Upper eyelid crease 0. And lower eyelid position 5. For ears, I have ears 2. Lower ear angle 18. Upper ear angle 8. Ear rotation 8. And ear scale 6. Nose 8. Upper nose width 2, lower nose width 11, nose position 2, upper nose prominence 11, middle nose prominence 9, and lower nose prominence 8. For cheeks, I have cheeks 4, upper cheek width 11, middle cheek width 0, mouth 6, mouth width 8, upper lip thickness 2, upper lip prominence 0, upper lip dent position 10, lower lip thickness 13, and lower lip prominence 13. And for facial hair, I have facial hair 32. Chin default, chin dimple 0, chin prominence 15, front chin width 10, rear chin width 11, and chin position 10. And then I have skin 2, and all of these are off. So there's his appearance. Like I said, the preset was a little bit different this year, so just make sure you guys are using the same preset that I used. You can copy the attributes on different presets, but it may not look exactly the same. So that's kind of what I tried to do because the presets are completely different from when I last created him. I had to just play around with a bunch of different ones, and none of them really looked as good as this one. So this is the best one that I could create for this year. So for his body, I have him at 6'6" and weight 215. You can change his weight down to like 195 from when he was younger. When he was in his later years in the Bulls as well as the Wizards, he was a little bit heavier. So I have him here at 215. I think this looks right as far as his body shape. And the wingspan on this offline version, I'm not sure what these numbers necessarily correlate to, but 60 looks right. His actual wingspan, I believe, is 6'11". Alright, so for his shoes, you can put on any of the Jordan shoes on him. I think they all look right. And he has quarter socks on this one. And I have his shorts length at 3. You can mess around with that. His accessories, the only two accessories that he has are the forearm band, which it's listed on the wrist as forearm band, as well as his calf sleeve on the left side. And also you can give him some shorts as well underneath. For his attributes, I copied the 92 to 93 Jordan, but depending on how you're creating him, if you guys are creating like an extra roster, like one of the years that they weren't on there, you can just kind of tweak it to match whatever you want him to be. I feel like 92 to 93 is one of his best all-around years. And I'll go ahead and show you guys his signature that I have set up just so you guys, if you guys want like a baseline to go off of, I have lower base Michael Jordan, upper release Michael Jordan, normal timing. Contested, I have Dirk. Free throw, Michael Jordan. And for these, I just have Dante and Dirk. There isn't really Jordan on these. Yeah, so you guys can mess with these if you want. I don't really get into this as much. These are more like how you want him to play and stuff. And I just kind of went with like as much of the Jordan ones that are in here. For the ones that didn't have Jordan, I picked either Kobe or Tracy or Pro. And that's pretty much it. That's his signature moves. As far as his badges, once again, if you guys just want to copy one of the existing Jordans and then tweak it to what year you have, that would probably be the best choice. Alright guys, let's take a look at the builds that I have here in MyPlayer Builder. First of all, I did want to say that these may not necessarily be the most meta builds. Just keep that in mind because the game does penalize you for going from 6'5 to 6'6. And while Jordan probably was shorter than 6'6, a lot of people say he was 6'4 or 6'5, he was listed as 6'6. So I'm trying to keep it as realistic to that as possible. Now I also have him with 83.4 wingspan at 6'6", so that was close to what his real wingspan was. For all these, I do have him on the acceleration and vertical pie chart, so he has max speed and vertical. The first one I want to mention, I won't really go into it too much, is the slasher build. This is pretty much a full blue pie chart. I decided it wasn't really a good pie chart to use. I mean, yeah, he has like the most finishing around the basket, but he's not really too good anywhere else, so he's very limited. If you wanted to do more of a slashing build, I recommend to use the 60% blue, 40% red, which I believe is a new pie chart, and he ends up being called a two-way finisher. So let's actually take a look at what I have him set up with that. So kind of going backwards here since I already have it built. But you can see that with the 60% blue, 40% red pie chart, this is one of the new pie charts. He has pretty good driving dunk, and when you put him at 6'6", he's going to have a 90 driving layup. So he's still going to be able to finish very well close to the basket. Now the only thing that suffers is he's not going to be able to make mid-range shots. So I would probably call this like a 80s Jordan, 87, 88 Jordan. The reason for that is he won Defensive Player of the Year and MVP in the same year. So he was able to score and he was able to defend really well. So you can see his steal is really high for this. But I have him at 6'6", and with this one I have him set up at 195 to give him a little bit more boost and acceleration. And that's really his true weight around the 80s, is below 200 pounds. 83.5 inches wingspan. You're not going to really be able to create a true Jordan because he could literally do everything. It's going to be really hard to really create him. So I would call this the mid to late 80s Jordan. He can slash and he can defend. So I would probably give him, I mean, you can really go with either one. Being defensive player of the year, he was literally like in the passing lane getting steals all the time. But it's up to you. I would personally just choose slasher just so you can get those exciting dunks. But he ends up being called a two-way finisher, and you can see he's compared to people who have been compared to him in the past, like Mitch Richmond and Zach LaVine. That's the two-way finisher, 60% blue, 40% red pie chart. Now this other pie chart up here, two-way mid-range shooter, I really wouldn't probably use this, but you can take a look at what it has. He was a balanced player. He could play offense and defense. So this is 60% green, 40% red. So you could probably call this like a early 90s Jordan. Now his dunking's not great. He wasn't really a flashy dunker anymore in the early 90s, but he was a finisher. So having such a low driving layup and a low driving dunk is kind of a sacrifice you're going to have to make if you want him to be able to shoot and defend. Alright, the last one I want to talk about is this shot creator one. This one is probably like this one, being a early 90s Jordan, but more focused on the offense, being that offensive machine, because you're not going to be able to have a really high steal rating or perimeter defense rating. So you can see they're in the 70s. So this would be probably the closest offensive threat type of player, the shot creator. So you can see his stats there. Let me show you what that looks like so you can copy the stats if you want to. Let's go in here. So before messing with his height and all that, here's what the stats look like if you want to take a screenshot of that. And like with this, once again, these are me trying to max out the badges. So if you can see that his badges are pretty much maxed out, if you bump down one, and you can see that it's at the last possible attribute to the badge. So with this build, once again, this is more of like a early 90s Jordan. His scoring is really high. Shooting is real high. Layups, very high. So there you have it for that one. I would probably, for this one, do the shot creating takeover, but also you could probably go with a slasher. Those are probably the two I would choose. So out of these four, I think my favorite is probably going to be the two-way finishing, because this is more of the late 80s, mid 80s Jordan that can go to the basket, very athletic, very exciting dunks, but could still defend as a defensive player of the year should. You're going to have really high defensive badges and finishing badges. You're just going to have to sacrifice that mid-range shooting and just score close to the basket. So that's pretty much it for the builds. If you made it to the end of the video, I really do appreciate it. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button down below. Subscribe for new 2K22 creations. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.